Good evening and welcome. I'd like to call to order the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors business meeting Tuesday, November 19, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the board meeting room at 39 Bank Street, Chatham, Virginia. Ms. McCluster, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bowman.
Here.
Mr. Dudley.
Present.
Mr. Height.
Here.
Mr. Ingram.
Yes.
Mr. Whittle.
Here.
Mr. Tucker.
Here.
Mr. Dalton.
Here. Moving to item 3, if you all would join me in a moment of silence, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Standing.
Thank you all. Moving to item 5. Are there any items to be added to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to make a motion to add the following items to consent agenda. And also there's 2 items I'm going to remove. We're going to add Microporous Local Performance Agreement approval to the consent agenda, Ringo Rail Trail Bridge Repair Contract approval to the agenda, and West Piedmont Planning District Commission appointments to the consent agenda. And we're going to remove item 10B, 2 East Point Battery Storage Siting Agreement from the agenda. And we're going to add a legal services matter to the from the work session.
All right. Got a motion by Mr. Tucker. Entertain a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ingram. Any further discussion?
I do. I have a question.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dudley.
Those legal things, is that going to be open discussion or is that going to be consent?
It was added to the consent.
Consent or?
It was added to the consent.
Okay.
Yes.
Was my understanding.
It was.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Anything else? Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Dudley. No further questions. We're ready to vote. Motion carries unanimous. Moving to item 6, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bowman, a second. Second by Mr. Ingram. Any further discussion? Not hearing any, we're ready to vote. Motion passes unanimous. Moving to item 7, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ingram, a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Height. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote. All right, motion passes unanimous. Moving to item 8, we have presentations. Gentlemen, we'll move to the front of the boardroom.
Welcome, everybody. Is this on? Yep, yeah, there it is. Tonight, we're going to honor two great citizens of Pittsylvania County for many, many years of service to the community. First one we're going to honor is Mac Doss. So, Mac, if you'll come forward, please. So this is so important here. Two supervisors are going to help with this one, okay? So tonight we're pleased to recognize Mac Doss upon his retirement after 4 decades with the Pittsylvania County Historical Society, whose service during that time involved many contributions to the county, to include working with his friend Francis Hurt and organizing the Callan's Potpourri Festival. At this time, we'd like for Mac and any family members and friends that are here tonight to come forward. So all of you should be friends of Mac, so if you all want to come up, that's fine. Come on up. Okay, Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors, resolution number 2024-11-03, honoring Mac Doss's years of service to the Pennsylvania County Historical Society and community. Virginia, at the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors board meeting on Tuesday, November 19, 2024, in the board meeting room, the following resolution was presented and adopted. Whereas, since 1979, Mac Doss has been a dedicated member of the Pennsylvania County Historical Society, contributing over 4 decades of steadfast commitment and service to the preservation and celebration of Pennsylvania County, Virginia's local history. And whereas Doss has played a pivotal role in organizing and participating in numerous events, including the Callan's Potpourri Festival, events at the historic Yates Tavern, and reenactments that have brought history to life for countless county residents and visitors. And whereas Doss has worked tirelessly to ensure the success of these events, providing leadership, inspiration, and countless hours of volunteer service to promote community engagement and historical education. And whereas through his dedication, Doss has fostered a deeper understanding and appreciation of the county's rich history, leaving a lasting impact on the county's cultural heritage. And whereas his contributions extend beyond historical preservation, reflecting his unwavering commitment to the betterment of the county through volunteerism, advocacy, and community spirit. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the board does hereby express its profound gratitude to Mac Doss for his extraordinary service, dedication, and contributions to the Pennsylvania County Historical Society and the community at large. Be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be presented to Doss as a token of the board's appreciation and to commemorate his years of service and outstanding contributions to the county. Given under my hand this 19th day of November 2024, Honorable Murray W. Whittle, Westover District, Honorable Kenneth L. Bowman, Chatham Blair's District, and the Honorable Darrell W. Dalton, Chairman, Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors. Thank you, Mac. Come on up here. I know he has something to say.
They say I always do. But I want to thank the Board of Supervisors and the members of the Historical Society, my family and friends, for their support. But lastly, I would have to thank Francis Hurt. In 1979, she called me and wanted me to come and meet her at Callan's. I told her I didn't know where Callan's was. She said, "Are you joking?" I said, "No, I have never heard of Callan's." So she gave me excellent directions, and from that point forward until she died in 2015, she never let me go. So I accept this on behalf of you all and her.
There you go. There you go. Okay, now we're pleased to recognize H.F. Haymore for his 6 decades of service as a member of the Mount Hermon Volunteer Fire Department. This time we'd like for H.F. and his family and friends to come forward. So come on up here, guys. I can see you back there. Got a bad wheel. Got a bad wheel. Okay, tonight we're honoring H.F. Haymore's volunteer fire and EMS service. Virginia, at the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors business meeting on Tuesday, November the 19th, 2024, in the board meeting room, the following resolution was presented and adopted. Whereas H.F. Haymore has been an esteemed member of the Mount Hermon Fire and Rescue Station since its inception in 1964 and has continuously demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the safety and well-being of the county and community. And whereas Haymore has dedicated countless hours of service to fire suppression, rescue operations, training, and community outreach, serving as a role model and mentor for generations of first responders. And whereas his extraordinary dedication, leadership, and selflessness have earned the respect and admiration of colleagues, community members, and officials alike, contributing significantly to Mount Hermon's strength and legacy. And whereas Haymore's commitment over 6 decades exemplifies the best of public service, showcasing a profound sense of duty, courage, and compassion that has made a lasting impact on the lives of countless individuals in the county and his community. Whereas Haymore has given unselfishly of his time and efforts for the county's betterment and is a faithful and loyal member of this community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board express their sincere appreciation to H.F. Haymore for his noble dedication of his time and efforts toward the development and advancement of the county and fire and rescue system. Given under my hand this 19th day of November 2024, Honorable Mary W. Whittle, Westover District, the Honorable Kenneth L. Bowman, Chatham Blair's District, and the Honorable Darrell W. Dalton, Chairman.
What a surprise. I had no idea until this morning, and I apologize for not having my family here, but they all live in Richmond, and it was a little short notice. Faye and I got married in June 1964. My father-in-law was on the board of directors at Mount Hermon Volunteer Fire Department, and in September, he had me in, and I've been in ever since. It's been a really unique journey. I think back, and you've heard the commercial, "I've come a long way, baby." The commercial, the cigarette commercial. Well, let me tell you this, we've come a long way, baby, at Mount Hermon, and I'm proud of it. But you're going to find this hard to believe, that we did our own work on the vehicles. We never carried one to the shop the first 10 years that I was a member of the fire department. I had a key to motor parts and equipment on Riverside Drive. Mr. Carper and Mr. Doss banked with me. They gave me the key and said, you go in and out anytime you want to. There was no alarm system on it. We had to call Danville PD, and I'm sure Mr. Creasy long remembers that, or he's heard about it, that we had to call a policeman just to say that we wasn't breaking in. But between Roy Atkinson, Butch Cassidy, and Julian Simmons, all the work on the trucks that was done for the first 10 years was done by them. We never carried one to the shop. So it's really been a change, but it's been a blessed change in more ways than one, and it's been my honorable privilege to be a part of it for about 60 years as of September the 14th of this year. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, gentlemen.
All right, moving to item 8B, we got the DPS CS annual report. That's going to be Mr. Bebo. Welcome, sir. Oh, okay, that's fine. Welcome, sir. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman Dalton, members of the Board of Supervisors, Mr. Shorter, and staff, I'm Gary Davis, a member of the Danville, Pennsylvania Community Services Board of Directors. And it's with great pleasure tonight that I present to you DPCS's annual report for fiscal year 2024. This year's theme is bringing wellness to our community. And you all received copies of the report there. And our annual report covers activities of the agency between July 1 of 2023 and June 30th of 2024, and showcases the remarkable progress and achievements of those connected to DPCS. This year's magazine contains stories and facts about bringing wellness to our community. On page 4, the 8 dimensions of wellness are shown, which can be a part of a strength-based model to promote recovery and wellness. They are the common thread of this report. The work of the 300-plus professionals at DPCS has always been about bringing wellness to our community, whether as providers of health care and prevention services for those experiencing mental health issues, substance use, or developmental disabilities, or as employees creating a healthy and desirable workplace. The agency's focus, helping our friends and neighbors wherever they might be in life and never leaving them there, is about bringing wellness to our community. Over 50 years ago, Pennsylvania County and the City of Danville jointly resolved to create one organization to serve their residents. And this annual report shows how the agency, its staff, and its services do by focusing on the 8 dimensions of wellness. In this report, you can read stories about James and Wendy, who have added physical wellness to their mental health recovery journeys, working out and losing weight as part of a balanced wellness approach toward their overall health. Stories about Brittany and Stephen highlight unique programs in our community, such as treatment court and permanent supportive housing, which brought them environmental and spiritual wellness, stability, and support in their recovery. Anaya, Lamar, and Parker have occupational and financial wellness since finding work at local businesses in our community, a daycare, a fast food restaurant, a grocery store, and this is with the support from case management and employment services via the Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services, also known as DARS. Demarie and Carolyn can enjoy social, emotional, and spiritual wellness through participating in community activities, including attending church and working with animals and other day activities. Prevention programs and coalitions, including Revive training, drug take-back events, program gambling, and trauma resiliency partnerships, as well as numerous school-based prevention education activities, teach a large part of our community with physical, financial, emotional, and intellectual wellness. As a workplace, DPCS brings occupational, environmental, and financial wellness to the workforce of 300-plus professionals. Supporting staff educational goals through high school through graduate school, creating safe and secure work environments at all locations, and providing top quality income and benefit packages make DPCS a wellness workplace. As a board member since 2020, I can speak firsthand about DPCS's good work for some of our most vulnerable citizens. In fiscal year 2024, more than 4,260 individuals received 148,235 treatment services, and DPCS DPCS's prevention efforts reached more than 18,000 residents through 11,250 services. I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors, as well as the Danville City Council, for their insight and support in 1972 in creating what is known as DPCS. None of DPCS's achievements would be possible without the unwavering support of our local governments and dedicated staff, and most importantly, the courage and resilience of the individuals we serve. Together, we're bringing wellness to our community, which has a meaningful impact on thousands of individuals with whom we work. On behalf of our 15 citizen community board of directors and all the agency staff, we invite you to explore this annual report in detail to learn more about the transformative work that we have accomplished. And also this afternoon, I'd like to recognize some of the other board members that are here. We have Caitlin McCluster's here with us tonight, and Willie Fitzgerald's here. If you could just briefly stand. And also Kim Vanderhyde is with us tonight. It is our honor and pleasure to serve the community in this capacity. We appreciate your continued support. And now our Executive Director, Jim Bebo is here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, too.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bebo.
Hey, Jim.
I have nothing to
Tinker-
present.
Tinker snuck in behind you. She's on your board.
Oh, is Tinker here?
There she is.
Hey, there she is.
Okay,
Tinker's a past board member.
okay.
I have nothing to add, except I'd be glad to ask any questions and just reiterate that we're extremely thankful for y'all's support. The city and the county provide a lot of funding for us in operations, and we multiply that money to about $35 million a year worth of services for our community and serve thousands of people a year, and we're very appreciative of your support and hope to continue to grow and do more to meet the needs of our citizens.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, anything from Mr. Bebo?
Good.
No, sir.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
y'all
time.
for your
We appreciate
service. Moving to item 9, hearing of the citizens. Each person addressing the board under hearing of the citizens shall be a resident, a landowner of the county, or the registered agent of such resident or landowner. Each person shall step up, give his or her name and district, and alter the tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. No person shall be permitted to address the board more than once during the hearing of the citizens. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a body and not to any individual member thereof. Hearing of the citizens shall last for a maximum of 45 minutes. Any individual that signed up to speak during said session who does not get the appropriate opportunity to do so because of the aforementioned time limit shall be given speaking priority at the next board meeting. Absent chairman's approval, no person shall be able to speak who has not signed up. Ms. McCluster, we have anyone signed up?
Yes, sir. Ella Robertson.
Welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Ella Robertson, and I'm from the Bannister River District. I live at 325 Neighborhood Road, Chatham, Virginia, next to Mill Creek Road. My siblings and I grew up in the country, and we absolutely love playing outside, down in the creeks, picking blackberries, running through the cornfields, and taking the shortcuts across wheat fields to our uncle and aunt's house. The countryside was beautiful then, and it's as beautiful now. My sisters, cousins, and I enjoy taking Sunday afternoon rides through the country and taking pictures. I am a photographer, and I enjoy capturing great memories. We love the country so much that with the help of my older sister, Vivian, who could not be here tonight, we wrote a book entitled Treasured Memories about growing up in the country. As young girls, we lived across the road for many years from Motley's Dairy Farm, and now our property and Motley's property are adjacent to each other. Although our mother is no longer with us, she was nice enough to leave my siblings and I a beautiful home and the property that she once had. My family and I ask that you please vote no to the power plants and data centers in our rural neighborhoods. We are pleased with the things just the way that they are. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, John Owen.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is John Owen. I reside in Callan's Gretna District. I have a few comments and questions about the proposed data center and battery storage facilities. I realize the developer has withdrawn his request to rezone for the data center and power plant. I have no problem with that. It was how it was done that disturbs me. Any commercial or industrial development will be in somebody's backyard. Everyone screams, not mine. Okay. Why not offer them the albatross known as Berry Hill Industrial Park? This with more than enough space, and the taxpayers can stop seeing their money thrown into a bottomless pit. But it seems the supervisors would like to continue to see the county expenses borne by the taxpayers that happen to own a little property. Secondly, a couple of weeks ago, a supervisor posted on his Facebook page that the board had asked the data center developer to withdraw his application for rezoning. This post only stayed up for a few hours and was removed and replaced with something entirely different. The application notification continued to run as a Star Tribune for more than 2 weeks. And as I understand it, was withdrawn the day before the Planning Commission hearing. Try as I might, I could not find in the board minutes where this subject was on the board's agenda or was discussed. Consequently, one can reach two possible conclusions. One supervisor runs the whole show, or the supervisors held an illegal meeting. I would ask that the three members of the board who have not proven themselves to be untruthful to inform the citizens which of these scenarios transpired, because we deserve to know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anna Nunez.
Welcome, man. How are you doing?
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. My name is Anna Nunez. I am the Public Affairs Specialist for the U.S. Small Business Administration's Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. Thank you to the Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors for allowing me to share information about the Presidential Virginia Declaration for Tropical Storm Helene. I'm also here as a survivor of natural disasters from Texas, where I've endured numerous hurricanes, tropical storms, and flooding, so know that my heart is personally with you. First, I would really like to thank Ms. Kaylin McCluster, the clerk to the Board of Supervisors, and Christopher Key, the Public Safety Director, for their excellence and their help in allowing me to speak before you today. And also thank you to Mr. Robert Tucker, Vice Chairman, for the warm welcome today. Thank you. In times of disaster, the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration, helps businesses, nonprofit organizations, homeowners, and renters with their uninsured or underinsured disaster-related losses. It's important for folks to know that you do not have to be own a business to apply for an SBA disaster loan. Pittsylvania County was declared a primary county in the Virginia Presidential Disaster Declaration and is eligible for both physical and economic disaster loans from the SBA. Pennsylvania County residents are also eligible for FEMA's individual assistance. We work in partnership, and so this is just a gentle reminder that for the registration for FEMA's individual assistance is Monday, December 2nd, and there are less than 2 weeks to apply for individual assistance. And the registration deadline for public assistance for FEMA has been extended to Friday, November the 22nd. Pennsylvania County residents can apply for all 3 types of SBA disaster loans. First is a business physical damage loan for up to $2 million to cover physical damage and financial losses. A home disaster loan for up to $500,000 to cover damage to primary residence and up to $100,000 for homeowners and renters to replace disaster-damaged personal property such as clothing, furniture, appliances, vehicles, etc. And an economic injury disaster loans for up to $2 million to help small businesses and nonprofits to meet ordinary and necessary financial obligations. For folks, I have flyers over there, so after the meeting, you can get more information over there as well. And each of you has a packet with my business card. So some benefits of an SBA disaster loan is there's no fee to apply for an SBA low fixed interest loan with terms up to 30 years, no payment and no interest for 12 months, and no need to wait for insurance to settle before applying. Funds are also available to help build back better and protect against future disasters. Those are called mitigation loans. Folks who are offered an SBA disaster loan are also under no obligation to take the loan, even if you qualify, and you have up to 60 days to decide whether you want to accept it or not. So I am here just to remind folks that the application deadline for a physical damage loan is Monday, December 2nd, and for an economic injury loan, it is July 1st, 2025. Anyone can easily get information by visiting sba.gov/disaster or calling 1-800-659-2599. Thank you so much, and please know that we are here to help your county, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
James Adams.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening,
How are you, sir?
Mr. Chairman, board members. I'm James D. Adams. I reside in the Tulsa District. And this evening, let me give you just a little background of why I'm here before I tell you what my purpose is. I'm an offspring of Benjamin Adams, born 1811, was married to Matilda Francis, born 1809. The parents of Benjamin, the younger, born 1845, had a son that was named Jube Adams, who was my grandfather, was born in 1918. His sister, Lottie Adams Harrison, was married to Pete Harrison. I stand before you this evening raising concerns in reference to the Burr Hill Cemetery and the excavation of the persons who were buried there. I have made several attempts to get some clarity. In fact, the first meeting that I attended, our supervisor of the Tuster District was present. At that point, nobody knew that my family existed, the Adams family. They were dealing with another set of Adams. Made a request that before we could support or say that we didn't support, we'd like to visit the site to see what the plans were and make sure they was in compliance with all regulations.
30 seconds remaining.
I have made several attempts to ask Mr. Rohr to make provision for us or the family to go to visit the site. As of today, to my knowledge, he has not responded to any member of the family.
3 minutes is complete.
I cannot sit here and say that we support the action that's been taken by the county. One of the things we need to know, make sure that they're in compliance and that our family has had an opportunity to use whatever methods they deem necessary in order to get some clarity. I respectfully ask you this evening to authorize Mr. Rohr to set a time and make provision for our family to be able to go to see what it is, see the plans, see and be able to view the site in order for that we can either support it. If we don't support it, then our next effort would probably be to we're going to get some legal advice. And we need, if we're going to go out and seek legal advice, we need to know what we're asking for. And I think that my family has been an asset to this county, okay, Pennsylvania County.
Yes, sir.
We're not a liability. And we ask and respectfully request that the Board of Supervisors direct Mr. Rohr to make provision for us to go to review the site and to show what the plans are, and then we will proceed from there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Kathy Ramsey.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
My name is Kathy B. Ramsey, Bannister District. I am here continuing to voice a major concern in reference to the economic development in the Bannister District. I am here before the board this evening to remind and encourage the board to consider the concerns of the residents that live in and near the Bannister District. The effort to bring economic development to Bannister District is evident, and to some it may be positive and to others may view as a negative. The Riceville, Java, and Spring Garden communities are staying tuned to see what will be considered and if the voices of the residents are being heard. The focus on economic development is in reference to a convenience market in their community is being overlooked. The Bannister District residents that are not close to Chatham, Gretna, Alta Vista, Hurt, and Danville express the feeling of being underserved. Bannister residents travel to Halifax County for convenience market needs. The Bannister District, in comparison to the data and demographics of adjoining districts in Pennsylvania County, are similar, and the main difference is the location. The residents feel that they are spending a majority of their monies outside of their community, working together and being as transparent as possible gives the residents assurance that their concerns are being heard and they are not being ignored or neglected. The second thing that I'd like to reference to and remind you of, the traffic of State Road 57 East and West are a major concern, and the crossroad for 57 East and West and 640 off 29 North to Mount Airy is a hazard. The concern was brought to the board's attention in a previous meeting, and we are experiencing high volumes of traffic and the speed in the community below Yates Store. The Brownsville Heights lane does not have a speed sign at all, and there are an increased number of children living in that community. The residents would like a speed limit to be lowered in the area and white signs instead of yellow signs, yellow caution signs for the safety of the residents. As the crossroads 640 and 57 flashing stoplight signs or Rama strips to slow the traffic. Lastly, a reminder that Robbins Court is still having water issues, and the residents feel that it may relate to health problems. Thank you in advance for your time and consideration for the Bannister District.
Thank you, ma'am.
Patricia Dallas.
Welcome, ma'am.
Good evening to each and every one. I am here to speak on behalf of a convenience market for our community in Spring Garden. At one time, we had about
Ma'am,
30
excuse me, could you pull the mic up? Get into the mic. Pull the mic up. There you go. Yes, ma'am.
And now we're down to one. And we desperately need this because we are traveling anywhere from 10 to 15 miles just for a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk or whatever there is that we may need. And I was hoping that you would take this in real consideration, and I would really appreciate it if you would. And I thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Jenny Cole.
Welcome, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Jenny East Cole. I'm with the Bannister District. I wanted to talk about the Balico project. I live on Paynton Road, and I will be looking directly into one of their main entrances. But I'm also speaking on behalf of the other residences there. I want to give you a little bit of my background. I have an advanced degree in geology. I've worked in hydrology, geothermal, mineral and oil exploration, and I've also taught at the college level in geology. I've worked all over north central Alaska. I've worked on the Alaska Pipeline and the North Slope, and I've worked in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. I've worked in southwestern United States, in New Mexico, Nevada, California, Utah, Arizona, and I also, in 2007 and 2008, worked on for Virginia uranium. When you have a project of the magnitude of the Balico project, it is imperative that you ask good questions. You should insist on clear, well-defined answers and documented data in writing. Instead, what we get are maps like this. Nice little graphic representations, no legends, no data. This, to me, raises serious concerns. Some of the questions that we have asked and we have had concerns about, but which are not limited to, are environmental concerns, air, noise, soil, and light, utility corridors, water, gas, and electric, and impending eminent domain issues, roads, road usage, that one hasn't been addressed to my satisfaction, use of diesel generators, and others. Water, this is a big one for me because I worked in hydrology. I am concerned with water consumption,
30 seconds remaining.
water demand, water storage, water quality, water pollution, water runoff, contamination, evaporation, groundwater, aquifers, water tables. We have 2 year-round creeks flowing through that Balico project that flow into the Bannister. We have so many questions, and these are legitimate questions. We should not be dismissed and treated like children.
3 minutes is complete.
The answer I get is revenue, and this is short-sighted. How do you put a figure, a dollar figure, on a clean environment and good health? You can't. You can't. Unfortunately, just getting an answer like revenue is not satisfactory. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tanya Reynolds.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm Tanya Reynolds. I'm from the Callens-Gretna District. I'm here as a county citizen as well as representing the SPCA of Pennsylvania County. I am co-founder and current president. I'm not going to have time to address everything I want to, so I'm going to leave a packet here, hopefully with Mr. Shorter. It's something for each one of you, if you will please look at it. We formed in 2007 to try to improve animal welfare in our county. At the time, we had a county pound that had 83 to 87% kill rate for animals. That's just the dogs. All the county cats went to Danville where they were euthanized. As a small group of volunteers, we were able to bring the kill rate down until the new shelter was built from that percentage rate down to the teens. These are all volunteers. We continue to work very hard for animal welfare in this county. Right now, my primary concern is that since 2020, the county's position in community and feral cats was not to pick them up anymore. They used to trap them and they were killed. And that's unacceptable in our opinion. They are a life form that deserves to live. I know that y'all probably get some feedback from people that are irate. I want you to come get this cat and walk to my car, but that's not a good excuse to kill something. I have attempted to reach a few of you all by text and emails, and I didn't receive any response because I've heard from multiple sources that the plan in 2025 is for the county to go back to trap and kill. I hope that's not true. And I know that y'all are not going to address this to me today, but I'm going to leave this packet. There's something for each one of you in it if you would read it. We spend $75,000 to $100,000 annually in this county with no county assistance. We get no government assistance. We work hard for our money, and it's all to help the county animals. We provide the citizens with spay-neuter. If people have animals that they can't keep because of a health issue, we help with them with the vetting cost. The DPCS that was here, we provide food to some people that cannot afford to keep their pets, and they distribute it for us. We work, as I said, very hard to keep down the senseless death of animals. We were behind lobbying to get the new county facility built. It had a 95% save rate, which was great. Unfortunately, we dropped down to 83%. They start trapping and killing these cats again, it's going to go higher. I don't think anybody wants our county to be in the seat that the city of Danville's in right now. But you know, I really hope that somebody will reach out to me. I'd like for us to have an opportunity to speak to you all before
30
you
seconds
implement anything,
remaining.
if you do, to give our side of it and have an opportunity to tell you why we think it's a bad idea before anything is implemented. And I appreciate your time. I will leave this with Mr. Short if it's okay, and if y'all leave it over here, okay. And I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Moving to item 10A, our rezoning public hearings. Pursuant to Article 5, Division 6 of the Pennsylvania County Zoning Ordinance, the Board of Supervisors have been empowered to hear and decide specific zoning issues, zoning map changes in support of said ordinance. In accomplishing this task, the board is responsible for promoting the health, safety, and general public welfare of the citizens of Pennsylvania County. The board must ensure that all its decisions and regulations be directed to these goals and that each be consistent with the environment, the comprehensive plan, the best interest of Pennsylvania County, its citizens, and its posterity. All right, case R-24-021. Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-24-021, William and Lisa Myers have petitioned to rezone 5 acres located on State Road 733 Barker Road in the Dane River Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow for a Class B home occupation on the property, a commercial kitchen. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On October 1st, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a 6-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Bill Myers is here to represent the petition.
All right, thank you. At 8 p.m., I'll open the public hearing in case R-24-021. Do we have anyone signed up, Mr.?
No, sir.
All right, at 8 o'clock, I will close the public hearing in case R-24-021. Mr. Height, the pleasure is yours, sir.
Mr. Chairman, in case R-24-021 for William and Lisa Myers to rezone property on Barker Road from R1 to A1 Agricultural District, I make a motion be approved.
I got a motion by Mr. Height, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ingram. Any further discussion? If not, we're ready to vote. All right, motion carries unanimous. Properties be rezoned. Moving to case R-24-022. Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-24-022, Jack Hudgens Jr. has petitioned to rezone 11.53 acres located on State Road 891 Deercrest Lane in the Tunstall Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow the property to be used for agricultural purposes. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. On October 1st, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a 6-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. Staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Jack Hudgens is here to represent the petition.
Thank you. At 8:02, I'll open the public hearing in case R-24-022. Do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
At 8:02, I will close the public hearing in case R-24-022. Mr. Ingram, the pleasure is yours.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. In case R-24-022, I make a motion approving the rezoning of 11.53 acres from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow the property to be used for agricultural purposes.
All right, we got a motion from Mr. Ingram. A second?
Second it.
Second by Mr. Bowman. Any further discussion? Not in, we're ready to vote. All right, motion carries unanimous. Zoning has been approved. All right, case R-24-023. Ms. Ragsdale.
Case R-24-023, Ray Atkins Jr. and Randy Atkins have petitioned to rezone 1.57 acres located on State Road 1132 Old Mayfield Road in the Westover Election District from RC1 Residential Combined Subdivision District to R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to allow the property to be consolidated with an adjacent parcel zoned R1. Once the property is rezoned to R1, all uses listed under Section 35-222 are permitted. On October 1st, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended by a 6-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. Staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Adam Lane is here to represent the petition.
Right, thank you. At 8:04, I'll open the public hearing in case R-24-023. Do we have anyone signed up?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, at 8:04, I'll close the public hearing in case R-24-023. Mr. Whittle, the pleasure is yours, sir.
Thank you. In case R-24-023, I make a motion approving the rezoning of 1.5 acres from RC1 Residential Combined Subdivision District to R1 Residential Suburban District to allow property lines to be adjusted.
All right, you got a motion by Mr. Whittle, second?
Second.
All right, got a second by Mr. Height. Any further discussion? If none, we're ready to vote. All right, carries unanimous. Property is being rezoned. Thank you. Moving to 10B, other public hearings. Each person addressing the board on the public hearing shall step up, give his or her name, district, and or his or her place of residence for non-county citizens in an altered tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. Speakers for a group shall be limited to 10 minutes. Speakers shall conclude their remarks at that time unless the consent of the board is affirmative to given extend to the speaker allotted time. Absent chairman approval, no person shall be able to speak who has not signed up. All right, in 10B1, we've got a public hearing on our zoning ordinance. Ms. Ragsdale.
Tonight we have with us the Berkeley Group, who are the consultants that were hired to do our zoning ordinance rewrite that we started 2 years ago. So they will be here to give you a presentation. I will let you know that a public hearing was held at Planning Commission at their October 1st meeting, and they did recommend by a 6-0 vote that the ordinance be adopted with a revision, which the Berkeley Group will cover with you in just a minute. But I did want to let you know they have heard this, it has been advertised appropriately, and they have made a recommendation of adoption.
All right, thank you. All right. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As Ms. Ragsdale said, I am here tonight on behalf of the Berkeley Group. My name is Caroline Vanterve, and here with me tonight is my colleague, Rebecca Cobb. We have been working with you all for the past 2.5 years to update your zoning ordinance, and I'm very pleased to be with you tonight to provide a brief overview of the ordinance for your consideration during public hearings. I will try my best to keep this brief, but do want to provide some background for the public as well as a refresher for you all on the project progress to date, as well as the purpose and goals of this ordinance update. I'll briefly review the proposed ordinance structure, including the recommendation that Planning Commission made. We'll go over next steps, and then I will turn it back to you all to hold the public hearing. So as Ms. Ragsdale mentioned, this zoning ordinance update has been about 2.5 years in the making. The first and a very important step in this project was a community input phase that was held around 2 years ago, and that consisted of a community-wide survey, focus groups, and a public workshop open to everyone in the county. We then took all of that community input we received, we presented it to you all, as well as Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals, and you all took that input from the community to draft the ordinance over work sessions every other month for about 1.5 years. You all made edits to the draft and presented that draft to the public at a public open house in December of last year. There was also a survey running concurrently alongside that public open house. Community input was presented to you all again, and then you all made those revisions during your final work session with the Planning Commission and BZA. It is my understanding that staff has also been working with you all during work sessions throughout the summer to fine-tune the ordinance and make sure that you all feel that it is indeed reflecting the priorities of the county. And that, of course, brings us to where we are this evening with public hearings. And as Ms. Ragsdale mentioned, the Planning Commission held their public hearing to consider the draft ordinance during their regular meeting in October. So there may be those in the community who are wondering why the county has decided to undergo a zoning ordinance update. And there are several main reasons why this has been a necessary project for Pittsylvania County. The first reason is to ensure compliance with the Code of Virginia, as some sections are mandatory for Pittsylvania County to include in the ordinance, and many of those mandatory sections are actually not included in your current ordinance. So it's important that we bring the county into full compliance with state code. The second purpose of the project was to clarify language and make the ordinance understandable. This provides greater transparency to the public. It also reduces the need for potentially arbitrary interpretation and the associated potential for legal challenge. The third project purpose was to modernize the ordinance to address modern issues, uses, and best practices. This is to incorporate not just your current economic development goals, but also your continued goals for housing, protection, and agricultural preservation as you've established in your comprehensive plan. Similar to clarifying the language, we have also endeavored to streamline the content to ensure that the ordinance is more user-friendly, that content is easy to find and interpret. And then last but certainly not least, creating greater compatibility with your comprehensive plan, taking the direction found in that document and translating it into a regulatory framework. That is so the vision in your comprehensive plan can be implemented and you all can start to realize the vision for Pittsylvania County moving forward. So the first goal is to comply with Code of Virginia requirements, and as I mentioned a minute ago, the current ordinance largely does not comply with state code. To achieve the goal of full compliance, we have incorporated references to the Code of Virginia. You can see on your screen an example related to the vested rights of property owners. This will protect you all from legal challenges, and it will also prevent staff from having to make judgment calls that could be arbitrary or inconsistent. All of this together serves to provide greater clarity and transparency to property owners and applicants. The second goal is to clarify language and make the zoning ordinance understandable. The current zoning ordinance is very lengthy, it's confusing, it can be very difficult to understand. And so we have sought to restructure and reorganize the ordinance for clarity and simplicity as much as possible. including through the use of tables, charts, and graphics like the one you see on your screen. And this is a helpful tool in helping explain and communicate complex information. The benefits of clear and organized zoning regulations include reducing the risk and uncertainty associated with development, and again, continuing to provide transparency and clarity to both applicants and the community throughout the application process. Again, that graphic on your screen is an example of one of many that we've incorporated into the ordinance, and it's just showing how height of structures in floodplain areas is measured. The third goal is to address modern issues, uses, and best practices. We wanted to ensure that the county's use permissions and the uses that are listed in the ordinance are lining up with your stated economic development goals, as well as the development patterns that you have found emerging in the community over the past several years. This allows the county to mitigate the potential impacts on residents and agriculture appropriately, while being flexible to consider new industry and employment opportunities. And another anticipated benefit is improving overall quality of life. And I know it may seem very contradictory to say that new regulations can actually improve citizens' lives, but that is exactly the case when it comes to zoning. We heard from the community a lot about needing more robust community design standards to help improve the compatibility of different adjoining uses, as well as to improve the aesthetic quality of your commercial corridors like routes 29 and 58. And you'll see that there is a brand new article in the ordinance to address just that. And you can see an example again of one of those graphics on your screen that is found in the Community Design Standards article that demonstrates buffering. In this case, it would be an example of the buffering that would be hypothetically required between a heavy industrial use and an agricultural or residential use. And finally, you'll see that there are carve-outs throughout the zoning ordinance that allow property owners to be more creative and more flexible with applications and what they can do on their properties than what is provided in the current ordinance. The fourth goal is to streamline content to be more user-friendly, easy to find and interpret. The associated benefits are improving communication through setting clear expectations, which reduces the amount of time and money that county staff has to spend on making determinations and enforcing code. One of the ways in which we've streamlined the content is through organizing dimensional standards for each of the county's primary zoning districts into a table like the one you see on your screen. And last, but certainly not least, the fifth and final goal of this update process was to consider how the policy guidance that you all have established in your comp plan can be translated through zoning regulations. Because when harmony between your comp plan and your zoning ordinance is achieved, then the county will start to see tangible progress in moving towards the envisioned future set out in that comp plan. So as an example here, one of your comprehensive plan goals is to promote a strong and diversified industrial and commercial base, which does not create significant impacts on residential areas, prime ag lands, or public facilities. Some of the associated regulations you can find in the draft ordinance that would help implement that goal include introducing new uses emerging in the county and statewide, updating and providing additional use standards for commercial and industrial uses, introducing standards for landscaping and screening between commercial and industrial uses and uses that are not commercial and industrial in nature, and eliminating the requirement to provide a full site plan at the application phase. A different type of plan with a different list of requirements is articulated in the ordinance. So as you can see here, the proposed ordinance structure is fairly different than your current ordinance structure, again, working towards the goal of making the ordinance as clear, transparent, easy to use as possible. So Articles 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10, in general, admin, permits and applications, nonconforming, and definitions, those are your administrative articles of the ordinance. Much of the content in those articles is actually set forth by state code. Articles 4 and 5 address your primary and your overlay zoning districts. Articles 6 and 7, use matrix and performance standards, address the uses that are permitted in the county, as well as any standards that apply above and beyond. Article 8 addresses community design standards, and I'll talk about all of these a little bit more on the coming slides. So again, this set of articles, these are your administrative articles. Much of the content is provided for by the Code of Virginia. Article 1 provides the purpose, authority, and effective date of the ordinance. Article 2 establishes powers and duties of the zoning administrator, planning commission, and the BZA. It also identifies procedures for administration and enforcement of the ordinance. Article 3 provides procedures and standards for all zoning-related permits and applications. Article 9 addresses nonconformities in accordance with state law. And Article 10 provides definitions for all uses and terms included in the ordinance. Article 4 establishes dimensional standards for all of your base zoning districts. And Article 5 establishes standards for the county's 3 overlay districts, the floodplain, the lake surface, and the airport overlays. As a reminder, you can think of those overlay districts like a layer cake. Your base zoning district is the first layer, and then if an area of the county has an overlay applied to it, it would be a second layer. So those regulations would apply above and beyond, or in addition to, I should say, what is required in those base districts. Article 6 establishes all uses and associated permissions through a matrix format. You can see part of that use matrix on your screen. Article 7 provides performance standards for certain uses that apply above and beyond district and overlay standards. And Article 8 provides community design standards that address visibility clearance, lighting, walls, fences, open space, signage, parking, and landscaping and screening. Throughout this process, we have had a couple of questions come up about what it means to be grandfathered. The technical term that state code sets forth for this is nonconformities. So again, this is addressed in Article 9. State code basically allows you as a locality to continue the use of legally established nonconforming lots, structures, and uses. I just want to be very clear that the new zoning ordinance will only apply to new applications or those uses, structures, or lots that seek to substantially change or expand. So anything that has already been approved, any applications that will come in before the effective date of the ordinance, this new ordinance will not apply. It will only apply to new applications that are received after the effective date. So that brings us to our recommendation from the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission held their public hearing to consider the draft ordinance during their regular meeting in October. They recommended in a 6-0 vote approval of the draft ordinance. On your screen, you can see that they have also recommended that the following amendment be made to section 7-6-2. This section addresses performance standards for data centers. The Planning Commission has recommended that the following language be added. It says, or the Planning Commission recommends, data centers shall be located on property with a power station or existing transmission line or immediately adjacent to a property or easement with a power station or existing transmission line. No new off-site transmission lines shall be constructed for the purpose of serving the data center. Again, that is the Planning Commission's recommendation. Should you choose to move to adopt the ordinance tonight, you can choose to include that recommendation as desired. You can also choose to make additional amendments to the ordinance as part of your motion of approval, should you make it. And again, just being completely clear, these regulations and all of the regulations in the ordinance do not apply to any applications that have already been submitted or anything that is on the ground currently. They can only apply to applications that are submitted after the effective date of the ordinance. Should you choose to move to adopt the ordinance tonight, staff recommends an effective date of January 1, 2025. This gives the county around a 45-day window to make that transition between the current ordinance and the updated ordinance. Of course, if you all feel that that effective date should be changed, you all can do so through resolution. And again, just want to remind you all that tonight is not the be-all, end-all. Even if and when you choose to adopt the draft ordinance, you all should and can continue to review and make text amendments like you have been doing in the past. You can certainly do that at any time. This document is not written in stone, and as development patterns in the county continue to evolve, as the community continues to share their needs and priorities, the ordinance should evolve along with those. So Ms. Ragsdale and I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have tonight, but otherwise I will turn it over to you all to open the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, gentlemen? You good?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Very good presentation. So how difficult was it to write this current zoning ordinance, and you had the comprehensive plan, which is about 14 years old now? Is that right? About that. About 13 or 14 years old. How difficult was that to use the comprehensive plan in order to craft this document here? And the reason I ask that is because earlier tonight, we're talking about doing a new comprehensive plan, and it's from cover to cover, and it's going to change based on what we currently have already that we're using. So when we do that, and it's going to take about a year to write the comprehensive plan, how hard will it be then to go back and modify the current ordinance, zoning ordinance, and bring it in line with the comprehensive plan?
That is a really good question. So the comprehensive plan, keep in mind that the comprehensive plan does not carry the force of law. The comprehensive plan and your ordinance need to be talking to each other because your regulatory items in the zoning ordinance are how you implement the comp plan. The biggest change that is likely going to happen after you update your comprehensive plan would likely be to your zoning map. So this process is just looking at the actual zoning ordinance. It's not looking at the zoning map where these districts applied. But certainly Pittsylvania County has been growing over the past few years. There are new economic development considerations, new housing considerations, and there might be some areas of the county that you, as part of creating your future land use map, might choose to designate differently than you have in the current comprehensive plan, and a zoning map amendment may need to be made to reflect that. The text is really, the significant changes are going to be if you all choose to add a zoning district to reflect what you're going to do in your comprehensive plan, or if new uses come up. But if I had to guess, the biggest changes would be actually to your zoning map. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, ma'am, for your presentation, and we appreciate you updating us. I'm going to address the board right here. I'm not really comfortable in terms of voting on this tonight. I would highly recommend, since we have changes in front of us, that we have an opportunity to review what we're actually voting on, and we can put it on our December agenda. So I'm going to make a motion to postpone this until our December meeting. That's my motion.
I'd second that.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion by Mr. Tucker and a second by Mr. Ingram. Any further discussion?
So
Yes,
the question would be then, are you going to hear the citizens' comments on this tonight, or are you going to wait?
I think we can do the public hearing.
We owe it to,
Yeah, we already
Mr.
have
Chairman,
the
we
public
owe
hearing.
it to our citizens to
That's
hear
my
them.
question. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Wait, hold on just a minute, gentlemen. Yes.
I want to add, while you are considering that motion, that we are at the end of our scoped meetings with you all. So if there's another meeting, we would not be able to be present to, facilitate that or to hear that discussion. But what we can do is you can have Ms. Ragsdale submit us with any list of additional edits that you want, and we can incorporate those and then package up the final document for you all if you want that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ingram?
It's quite a document, and I've tried to read through it a couple of times, and I'm not a big reader, so it tore me up. But I've said this before, there's parts in there that I just don't like. And I did ask the question during one of our prior briefings, if there was part of it we liked or a part we didn't like, could we keep or kick something out. You guys said that we could. So one of the questions I have is, are we under a strict timeline by which to have it approved to be in accordance with state law?
The short answer to that question is no,
Okay.
with the caveat that by not having the updated state code provisions in there, that does make the county more vulnerable in the event of legal challenge. That's not to say that your staff is not doing these things currently in practice, but the problem is if it's not explicitly stated in your zoning ordinance, that can be a problem for the county. I do, again, I understand that it is a big document. It is a lot to take in. This has not changed since the 90s. But again, at any point in time, you all can come back and make text amendments to the ordinance. So even if a month from now, a month from December, if you find that something is not working, you can make that text amendment with staff through the public hearing process, no problem.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And ma'am, I appreciate what you're saying. I'm not concerned with the complexity of the document. My position is that, we want to think through it so that we don't bind future boards because their attitudes may change and their appetite for certain things may change. So we have to kind of think through what we're doing here so that we can kind of be visionaries looking down the road a little bit.
Yes, sir, I understand that. Thank you.
So, Darrell, one
Yes,
more
sir.
question. One more question, please. So just to be clear, if we do not approve this tonight, then we're still under our current ordinance, which anybody that makes application from here until we approve this is grandfathered in under our old zoning ordinance.
That is correct. Until you adopt an updated draft ordinance and set an effective date, all the applications that you receive, rezoning, special use permits, site plan applications, all of that is under the current ordinance.
Okay. So I would recommend to our board members that there is an urgency here and not to, postpone this too much longer.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
December meeting, correct?
Mr. Chairman, and to the rest of my colleagues, I'm proposing 30 days. However, at the same time, we, again, cannot just be reactionary. We have to be a little bit more proactive, and I don't see it in terms of, the world's going to end in 30 days. Case in point, we were able to save ourselves somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000 by asking staff, we learned in work session to take the time to take a deep dive. So in most instances, time is not your friend, it's not on your side, but I don't foresee this in terms of being critical that we make a decision this evening. And I don't want to tie the hands of a future board that may have to be faced with something that we put in place and it's kind of ironclad, and then all of a sudden they either have to break the ordinance or they have to do a rewrite.
All right. So we got a motion to postpone it into the December meeting, and I have a second.
Second.
All right, got a second by Mr. Ingram, motion by Mr. Tucker. Any further discussion on it?
So, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Just for clarity then, you will not be coming back for a December meeting, is that correct?
Correct. This is the final meeting the Berkeley Group will be attending with the county, so we will not be present at the December meeting. That's correct.
Okay. And so if we have any recommendations, we funnel those through Ms. Ragsdale?
I will say, if you want to do a scope amendment, we certainly will, take that and honor that and come to that. But just right now, our scope has us limited to this. But if you wanted to amend that scope to have us come back, we can do that. Otherwise, if not, we would work through Ms. Ragsdale with any edits that you want to incorporate.
Okay, and one further question. So what timeline do we need for submitting comments to Ms. Ragsdale in order to get them to you, so we'll have that for the December meeting? There's got to be a turnaround time by the time she sends to you, so you will have a final draft for us to review at the December meeting. How much time? A week?
Yes, so if you can, if there are edits that you are aware of tonight, I would say discuss those while we are here, and we can be part of that conversation, and it's always best to hear it firsthand. And then we can go from there. If there's additional items, that come up or maybe aren't quite ironed out tonight, then if you can submit those within the next week, then we can incorporate that and then get it to you for your December meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Any further questions?
Has Emily got something? You got something, Emily?
Ms. Ragsdale?
So just know that this will have to be re-advertised for another meeting, and based on our advertising requirements, that were changed July 1, we've had to move those advertising dates up. So Kaylin, I don't handle the board stuff, but she can give you the exact advertising dates that all of this would have to be advertised in the paper and available for public review. So all of those changes would need to be finalized prior to, what is your date?
Which is really quick. So I actually have to get the public hearing notices to the Star Tribune for December on Thursday of this week.
Mr. Chairman, I have full confidence in our staff to be able to take care of the logistics as far as the advertising of the meetings and that sort of thing. At the same time, we would like to be extended the same trust. We were elected as supervisors to be able to kind of vet out some of this stuff and not sit here and vote on stuff blindly.
Right. That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right.
Where are we? Motion.
So we're ready to vote, gentlemen. Any more comments, questions? If not, we're ready to vote.
What is this here? Zoning ordinance, mass revision.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one quick question, if that's
Yes.
okay. Would you rather hold this in January? And the reason I say that is because when we advertise this and we post it, we have to have the correct amendments ready to go. We can't just advertise the public hearing. We've
Right.
got to have that final version out there for the public. So if January is okay with you, that better suits these advertising requirements, because if not, we're going to just have the same stuff that we have.
Mr. Chairman, I'll change my motion to January.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do that. January meeting. And that'll give us enough time. Mr. Whittle, you have a question, sir? We voting on to to move it out 2 months to January. So
that's what the motion says.
let me redo the motion. I got a motion from Mr. Tucker to move it out to the meeting in January. Mr. Ingram, will you second that?
I will, yes, sir.
All right, we got a second from Mr. Ingram. Are there any more discussion on moving it out to January? All right. Not hearing any, we're ready to vote on moving it to January.
Okay.
I don't have it. I didn't get to vote on that one.
No, it showed up that you did. What is your vote verbally?
Yes.
Okay. So we're good. We've got 6.
All right,
and
motion carries 6 yes and 1 no. All right. Item 10,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I'm sorry. We're going to conduct that public hearing.
Yes, we can go ahead and conduct, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We'll conduct that. All right, at 8:35, I open the public hearing for the rezoning ordinance. Do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Mark Blanchett.
Welcome, sir.
Morning, afternoon. I'm Mark Blanchett with Tunstall District. I'm here on behalf of the zoning ordinance for the campgrounds. The county has not had any problems with the campgrounds, but there's ordinances in that limits the amount of time that people can stay in the campgrounds. There's ordinances for us to be able to, actually force us to turn over any information for our residents. I like to see these taken out completely because basically you all want growth and development. Y'all have these businesses coming in, large factories getting built. The people coming in to build these, they're staying at these campgrounds. Some are staying at the hotels, but most of them are staying at the campgrounds. If these guys are having to move every few months, that's just going to make it difficult on them. We just want to have these people to be able to stay there as long as they need to. That's going to make it easier for everybody, for y'all to get y'all's projects done, for the workers themselves, for the campground owners, everybody. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Do we have anyone else signed up, Mr.
Yes,
McCluskey?
sir. Curtis Jefferson.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening. Supervisors, thank you for your time. My name is Curtis Jefferson, Dan River District. I own Paradise Lake and Campground. And the zoning, I didn't see anything at all about the grandfather in our paperwork, the grandfather thing that you talked about. It wasn't in ours. And, but still, though, just what he just said about, when I say I own a campground, you have a picture in your mind of a campground, I'm sure. Somebody tells me I own a campground. Well, there's different kinds of campgrounds. There's a campground in a tourist area, like the beach, they go down and spend a week vacation. Tennessee, spend a week's vacation, okay? No one's coming here to spend a week's vacation. Not being disrespectful, I'm just saying, they're here for work. And right now, things are, I'll say, booming. We got like I got solar fields going on. I got the casino people with mine. They can't come. They'll call and say, I got a job here that's going to last me for a year. And I said, well, you can't stay for 6 months. Well, they're not going to come. They're going to go down to Carolina. They're going to Danville, stay in a motel. These people, they bring their families sometimes. They buy groceries, they buy fuel, they buy tires. Sometimes they buy vehicles. They go to the movies. They spend a lot of money in our area. Plus, they're not counting the permits I pay for and taxes I pay. So it doesn't make any sense to run them out. And I got a forest around me. No one can even see them there. They even know they stay there for 6 months or 12 months. Some guys will come in and stay for 6 months. Some will stay for 3. Some will stay for a year, or maybe 2. The guys at the casino have been working for about a year now there, and they're going to be leaving for long. I'm just saying that it's totally different what you're thinking about when you say campgrounds. We're trying to get revenue here, and so as long as hopefully things will keep building like they are, and these guys will come in and spend the money, and girls spend the money that we need, and that's with these zoning rules right here, you close me down. I mean, I'm out of business. Now, it may seem like a little puny little campground, I'm not going to miss us, but every little bit helps. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Tracy Love.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you and good evening. I'm Tracy Love and I am from the Stone River District. First of all, I'm also here talking about some of the campground regulations. I am Leesville Lake Campground. First of all, I'd like to thank you for listening to our input from the original document that we saw and making some considerable changes. However, there's still more that needs to be done. I was an avid camper for half my life before we had the dream of buying a campground. Over 8 years ago, we started our search for an area and a property where we wanted to make our dream a reality. We weren't just looking at the campgrounds that were for sale, but the states, the localities. We wanted to get away from the northern rat race that we were in and the corporate rat races we were in. We wanted to come to rural America in an area just like this in Pittsylvania County. Like we said, these regulations are going to bring our dream to an end because we have a 40-acre property. We only have a small percentage of it developed. If this goes through, we won't be grandfathered in if we expand our business. So we're being cut off before we can even really develop our business in what we want it to be. Yes, we get a lot of the workers in the area. We also get full-time RVers, the retired people of our country that travel across the country from area to area to spend it with their families. One lady with us right now will be with us for over 7 months. She is spending the winter with us because her family lives in the area. She wants to see her grandchildren. The other half of her family lives in upstate New York. So she goes to upstate New York when it's hot here. Under this current zoning regulation for the time periods, she can't stay with us that whole time. She'll have to go somewhere else in between. And that's preventing her from being with her families.
30 seconds remaining.
The workers are a huge part of what keeps our business going right now. Unfortunately, the people who come to us that are staying as tourists, they're going to the D-Day Memorial. They're going to Amherst. They're going to other historical locations. We're on the tip top of the
3 minutes
county.
is complete.
If we are not around, they're going to be staying up at the Lynchburg campgrounds. They're going to be staying at campgrounds in other areas, and then they're not going to give us any revenue at all. It's going to be going out of our area. If we do not provide that spot for the workers, they're going to be going to illegally run campgrounds in the area. Because I'm sorry, no matter how hard our county workers try to do their jobs, they're not able to enforce all of the regulations that we have right now. And right now, our campground and those of the other campgrounds owners that we know, we are trying our very best to follow all the health department regulations and to have a legal, legitimate campground that's following all those health codes. Those illegal campgrounds are not doing that. How do I know that? Because workers talk to each other, and then they come and talk to us. And they try to get a cheaper price from us because their buddy at the job site's staying in this back field. Yeah, they don't have water or sewer, but that's okay. They just dump their sewage on the ground, and they reel a hose down from the barn. All of our campsites have full hookups. Our sewers are all up to date. Our water is tested regularly. That's what we're trying to provide as a service while we're trying to live our dream and do the best that we can. So I applaud you for putting a pause on the vote for tonight. Thank you very much. I hope that you're able to think about these things. And please, if you have questions for the campgrounds, let us know. We'll all be happy to help out. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, down this way.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask her one question?
Yeah.
Just for clarity, so.
Yes, sir.
And I heard everything you're saying. So basically, you're saying take out the requirements to move every few months? Is that?
That would be a huge help. Putting those deadlines on that these folks only have an X number of days.
I understand.
That's huge.
But
And
that's my question. Is that
Yes.
what you're getting? Okay.
That's
all.
the biggest thing that would help us out right now.
That's all I need. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Ragsdale, will you come
Thank you.
forward and explain that? I think we didn't make very many changes to the campgrounds. We actually made it better. Will you update us on that for the public?
We did. So at one of our previous work sessions, you all, we worked with you all to get regulations that you were more comfortable with, and we extended that to a year.
12 months, that's correct.
So basically what you would do is you could stay in spot one for a year. After 12 months, you would move to spot two. And what that is designed, those regulations are designed to do is keep campgrounds from becoming a mobile home park, and making sure that that remains a transient occupancy, which is what a camper is designed for. It's not designed for a permanent dwelling. It's designed for a transient use. And so remaining mobile and being moved once every year, that's what we all settled on. And you just move from one spot to the next. You do not have to leave the campground. You can stay at the campground as long as you would like. You could stay for 12 years. You would just need to move spots
Every 12
once every 12 months.
Correct, okay.
Ms., just a quick clarification. Ms. Ragsdale is correct, but I do want to clarify that we, with the board, had in this draft 180 nights, which would be 6 months. However, if you would like to extend that time frame to a year, you can certainly do so as part of the amendment process.
I think we wanted to move it to 12 months, yes.
Yes, okay, 12 months, and that can be, that's the 180 nights is in the public hearing draft, so 12 months can be changed, but it would just need to be part of the amendment, just to clarify.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Ingram.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that extension, but I wanted us to look at a provision, particularly in regards to workers, to where if that job was extended due to whatever reason, weather or supplies or whatever, that we wouldn't put an undue burden on that individual worker. And I'm sure they're, sort of like skipping school. You get a letter from somebody and you're good to go. So if nothing else, the employer could give us a letter saying this employee needs to stay another 6 months or whatever. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I think we can do more to help the average worker and citizen.
Yeah.
And
I'd just like to see a provision that would make it a little bit easier for them.
And with zoning, that's very tricky to do because you cannot give special privileges to special groups. You regulate based on the actual overall use itself. So allowing one group of people to have special privileges that you would not give to another group of people, i.e. workers, that you would not allow someone who was not here on work to do, that gets very tricky, and that opens us up to all kinds of legal challenges. So I don't know how we would accommodate that necessarily. It would have to be one regulation for all.
You're going to make me kick it up to 2 years then. I think that's, again, going back to Mr. Tucker's suggestion, that is something we need to really look at and work on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we will.
Okay.
But these guys need to call us and give us their input.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I hate to, but I call a point of order. This time is allocated for our public hearing, so we need to hear from the public.
Right. I just wanted to clarify the campground, though, because there's a lot of questions about that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have any more signed up, Ms. McCluster?
Yes, sir. Jeff Love, and he has requested 10 minutes because he's speaking on behalf of the Pittsylvania County Camp Owners Association.
Okay. All right. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. So I am Jeff Love. I'm in the Stanton River District, but I'm representing multiple districts because I represent more than one campground, so campground owners. Those that couldn't be present this evening. So we appreciate that some changes have been made since the zoning open house on December 14th, 2023, although we were very disappointed that no board members were present at that meeting. I'm looking at section 7-4-2. Item D1 allows for law enforcement or the administrator to review confidential customer information. If you're allowing that, you need to require that for all county businesses, not just campgrounds. So for example, if somebody comes to Walmart, you would have to have everyone sign in, provide their name, address, license plate, state, and the duration that they're going to spend in the store. That would be the equivalent to that regulation on the zoning for campgrounds. D2 is what we've been talking about profusely here. Per how it's written, it's 180 patron nights. That would not allow for our transient workers that help develop and maintain county infrastructure and businesses, transient healthcare workers, weather emergency responders, etc. If the board wants to continue to encourage new development and new businesses, it must understand that transient workers are essential. Our guests contribute to the local economy through patronizing other businesses and paying sales taxes. Since Pennsylvania County is not a tourist destination area, our campgrounds are completely dependent upon transient workers to stay in business. The 180-night limitation will restrict or eliminate county development and put all county campgrounds out of business. My proposal is eliminate the day restriction, that section completely, and that avoids this problem. And say that you can't have permanent residence in your campground. And that would cover extensions and so forth. Item I, site standards are unrealistic. It's calling for 1,600 square feet per site. Campground professionals determine site sizes based on site type and guest needs. RVs come in many sizes and styles, from 100 square feet to 400 square feet for a very large camper. Standard tents range from 35 square feet for a two-person tent to 200 square feet for a 12-person tent. As you can see by those numbers, 1,600 square feet for a campsite is excessive. Item J4, retail sales are restricted to specific items in our stores. Do retail businesses in the county have restrictions on what they sell? In the zoning ordinance, you are restricting what campgrounds can sell in their camp stores. It specifically lists what we can and cannot, what we can sell. So it really ties our hands. We can't sell promotional items such as t-shirts, hats, and things like that. Those aren't included on the list. Item J7, although the intent is about storing campers, it says parking of RVs is strictly prohibited. If you follow that as written, campground guests would need to keep their RV in motion at all times while in the campground and not park at a site, because parking of RVs is strictly prohibited. You need to take out parking from that sentence on item J7, because it restricts campers from parking in the campground. Item L3, campground owners are personally responsible for trash collection. That item prohibits trash companies, employees, or guests from taking care of trash. So as worded, every campground owner would need to personally haul trash from their campground. You cannot hire a company to do it. So some general comments about the zoning. The board and the Berkeley group, and the Berkeley group is not from our rural area, are not campground professionals, and as such are not qualified to make decisions on how we run our businesses. None of the campground owners in this county were consulted regarding potential zoning changes, even though you said that things were advertised and there were surveys. None of our campground owners were asked about their opinions. The county is very dependent on transient workers that stay in the county to develop this, to develop businesses and develop the county. Our county campgrounds receive most of their income through monthly and seasonal guests. The county is not a tourist destination, and as such, doesn't attract many short-term guests. Unreasonable restrictions will cause the county campgrounds to go out of business, guaranteed. I know my numbers. If I just base it on daily guests, I go out of business, and so does every other campground owner in the county. The county continues to have illegal camping through private landowners and harvest hosts. Those private properties don't follow or need to meet health department regulations. Illegal campgrounds have a negative impact on water sources, neighboring properties, and the environment. The development of unregulated campgrounds will explode to meet the demand caused by shutting down professionally managed campgrounds. Hotels and motels will become month-to-month apartments. The county doesn't have adequate personnel to discover and shut down the many improper campgrounds that already exist. There are campers on our road that there's people living in them, and they're not allowed to do that per the current zoning. We also have a concern that the county wants rights to confidential customer information. If you're going to require that of campgrounds, then that needs to be done for every business. So anytime somebody patronizes a business in the county, we need their name, phone number, address, license plate number, and how long they're staying at that business. The other issue is when we went to the open house, the current zoning was not compared to the proposed zoning. That's totally inappropriate way to change a document. You don't just throw, and the Berkeley group folks said, well, we had to make too many changes, so we're just throwing out the current zoning and starting from scratch, which is what they did. So there's no comparison to current zoning. So we can't look side by side, line item to line item, and see what was changed and what was kept the same. There's still a lot of issues that need to be resolved, and we trust that the board will be the right thing for our rural county, our citizens, and our businesses, and vote no to the current changes as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. McCluster, I'm going to call for a recess.
Okay.
5 minutes?
Yeah, probably about 5 minutes and reconvene. 06, I'll reconvene the meeting. Ms. McCluster, have anyone else signed up?
Yes, sir. Katie Whitehead, and she's requested 10 minutes as well. She's speaking on behalf of the concerned citizens of Chalk Level and the concerned citizens of Whittles.
All right. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for your attention. My name is Katie Whitehead. I am a resident of the Chatham Blairs district. I prepared comments which I think were given to you earlier. Balico submitted its new application this afternoon. We do not know if that application is complete. You have voted to delay adopting a zoning ordinance tonight, which means you have probably given up the opportunity of governing a new Balico proposed project under the new zoning ordinance. So my comment, which was handed to you, I hope it did not prompt that delay and vote. You've had a chance to read it. I was going to ask you, as you consider your vote on the zoning ordinance tonight, to please recognize the need to revise the document in light of what we have learned from our recent experience with Balico LLC. You could have improved the document before voting, and I suggested a few very specific revisions and asked that you adopt them as part of the new zoning ordinance tonight. I reviewed the draft zoning ordinance with the help of experts who have witnessed harm from data centers and power plants in Virginia and the Southeast, experts who are working to prevent further harm. One omission in the Pennsylvania draft ordinance stands out. The draft does not anticipate a data center project with on-site power generation. The omission is understandable. No one anticipated such a proposal until Balico applied for rezoning to build such a project on an astoundingly large scale. I am suggesting several revisions. The most important, I think, is that you require that a data center with on-site power generation fully comply with all the requirements in the ordinance that are applicable to power stations. I also ask it that you explicitly list agriculture among the land uses that are to be protected during any power station development. I hope you will also reconsider the maximum noise levels allowed for data centers and power stations. Noise limits should protect our mental and physical well-being from the harms of stressful noise. The World Health Organization recommends noise levels between 55 decibels during the day and 40 to 45 decibels at night for most comparable disturbances, such as traffic, trains, and wind turbines. And finally, I recommend requiring a data center applicant to assess water usage. As I wrote before your vote, I understand that if you adopt a zoning ordinance tonight, it will govern any rezoning application that is completed after today. It is important to adopt these revisions now to protect Pittsylvania County from unnecessary harm from a data center or power station. I don't know if it's possible for you to re-vote and decide to vote on the zoning ordinance tonight. If that's in any way possible, please consider it. You can revise a zoning ordinance. That opportunity is readily available to you, but you cannot be certain of, you don't have any chance if you delay and allow for completion of the ballot application. Maybe it's complete, maybe it's not. My hope was that you would adopt these revisions tonight and adopt the new zoning ordinance tonight. And thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Amber Hutcherson.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, or whoa, we gotta back that up.
Yeah.
Good evening to all of you. My name is Amber Hutcherson. I live in the Stanton River District. And I want to say thank you all for your service and what you do. I understand, to the extent I can understand, that you consider weighty matters on a daily basis and that you have a very difficult job to fulfill as supervisors for this county. I specifically am here to request additional time to consider the massive zoning ordinance that is in front of you. My notes request 30 to 90 days for additional comments from the public, whether it be citizens, small business owners, industry, tourism. I think this is a beautiful county, by the way. I've lived lots of other places and I just moved back and I think it's gorgeous. So I would come here to camp, except I live here. So that especially in light of the recent large-scale proposals for the proposed 2,300 acre data center and power plant project, as well as the large proposed battery energy storage, both of which I understood prior to this meeting were withdrawn at this time, but I anticipate will likely be on the horizon again, and I don't know what Balico has done thus far, but I would also submit to you that I do not feel it's appropriate for Balico, after a recent withdrawal, to resubmit without consideration in this new ordinance for all the weighty matters, the infrastructure, the process, to allow everyone to plan appropriately for what they want to, to protect everyone, to go forward in a way that is calculated and that the citizens know. And I must regrettably state, I just moved here. I'm a mom. I have young children, and I am not involved in Pennsylvania County government at all. But I can tell you the recent events that have been a spring, like what is going on, like this is coming, this is coming.
30 seconds remaining.
the largest data center in the United States, more than 3 times the largest battery energy storage in Virginia, a mass rezoning ordinance. This ordinance I offer to all of you is extremely important. It's the power of the pen, and it will govern the future of this county. And I respectfully request additional time for comments.
3 minutes is complete.
Everyone involved can make comments on the proposed draft, especially in light of these recent proposals for the county and what we see ahead.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else?
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
At 9:16, I'll close the public hearing for the rezoning ordinance. All right, we'll move to, do we have any unfinished business?
No, sir.
New business? Any matters from the work session? I don't
No,
think
sir.
we have any. No. All right, our board member reports. Mr. Height. You can go first, sir.
Mr. Bowman, be all right if I take your time?
Yeah. Take 2 minutes of it. He'll need but one.
Well, I'm glad you started on my end. Say we had a great week last week here in Pennsylvania County with the governor coming in and the announcement of microports coming to the mega park into Mr. Ingram's district. Still a little bit of your thunder, but that was a great event. It was nice to be there. I had nothing to do with that. I just serve on the board. A lot of forward-thinking people ahead of me that used to sit in these chairs had a dream, and I'm glad to see that dream is coming to fruition. I think it'll benefit this county greatly. As we approach this holiday season, there's something that's been weighing heavy on my heart, and I have a little bit of a bully pulpit up here for a few minutes. Folks, those that are listening, those that are here, reach out to people. Let them know you care about them. This past year, I have had to stand in a pulpit and conduct funeral services for people that have unfortunately decided to take their own lives. Folks, we need to reach out to people. People that you know in your neighborhood that may be alone. People that you know in your neighborhood have suffered losses this year. This will be a tough time of the year for them. Let them know you care about them. You know, we as individuals, we make up society, and we need to reach out to everybody in our community, wherever you live. And you know of somebody that's went through tough times this year. Encourage them just to be there. You know, that's what I want to leave us with from me tonight is, you know, Thanksgiving. All of us would be so thankful for just the air that we are able to breathe today. And we need to be sure that we're reaching out to our brothers and sisters in our communities, letting them know they're not alone, letting them know that they're cared about. That's all I got. That's my preaching for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Height. Good comment, sir. Thank you. Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Got a couple of comments here real quickly. Happy belated Veterans Day to all of the veterans because we really appreciate your sacrifice and your service to our country. There's a couple things I want to address because part of my responsibility is to listen to you. And let me say for those here that were speaking against Balico, Had no idea. We've been here since 2 o'clock, so I didn't get an opportunity to read anything. However, I want to be fair to my conscience first. Secondly, I want to be fair to all of the citizens in Pittsylvania County, because we owe it to everyone to make sure that this ordinance we pass basically is fair to everyone across the board. Now, I mentioned earlier that part of our fiduciary responsibility as supervisors is the fact that you elected us to be able to go through the process. Now, the buck stops here. It doesn't matter how many applications a Balico or anyone else puts in. This board has the final say. But at the same time, we don't want to be known across the country as a county that rejects people's application outright before they even have an opportunity to go through the process. Because we have to be an equal opportunity county, and we have to present ourselves as such. So to those individuals, don't be concerned. I think all of us up here, we're big boys, we can handle it. Number two, Ms. Ramsey is not here. She continues to raise the issue, and I get it. I don't know if some of it is frustration or she's attempting to get some political fodder, but Robin Court, we went out, earned a grant, almost $1 million, I think a little over $900,000, and that project is supposed to start in 2025 to get water over to the Robin Court people, okay? The young lady that addressed having a convenience center down in Spring Garden, you know, God love you, I understand. There are pockets within the county wherein there are no convenience centers, that sort of thing. That is an entrepreneurial function. That is not a function of this board. I want the citizens to understand this, not only in Bannister, because I have one of the most convoluted districts. I have the Spring Garden area, then I have the Long Island area that goes all the way down to Halifax and Campbell County over there. Now, I can collaborate with this board if we find an entrepreneur that's willing to make the investment. The only thing we can offer up are tax incentives to be able to put a convenience center down in that area, and I would be willing to do that. But we got to find that individual that's willing to take that risk to put one down there, okay? Now, it keeps coming up with the speed limit and the signage down on that end. Those that are watching by way of Facebook Live, Jay Craddock heads up that VDOT department. Again, that is not a function of a supervisor, so I don't want anybody to be misguided. I can pass along information, I can twist arms, do as much heavy lifting as I can, but at the same time, you know, that's VDOT's responsibility. Now, the last thing I want to do is welcome Microporous to our community. It's been a long time coming. There are a lot of naysayers, and I even heard, even in the public comments, that it's a money pit, that sort of thing, okay? If you travel outside of Virginia to your southeast, you will run into the Research Triad. Down around Raleigh, that area, it took them about 20 to 25 years to plant something in that industrial park. So for my colleagues that represent RIFA, the Regional Industrial Facility Authority, I serve on that board. That is huge. That's a win. It's very transformative for Pittsylvania County. Now you will have collateral companies, supply companies coming in, and let me tell you, we're going to be pedal to the metal in terms of economic development out in that area. So I thank all of you all for your patience. Thank you for your time this evening and everyone that spoke. Thank you to the staff for all your hard work. Before I finish, I want to publicly acknowledge and thank Mr. J. Vaden Hunt, for all of his work and his tenure here at Pennsylvania County, and to kind of keep us straight. So thank you, sir. A job well done.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Mr. Dudley, anything, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. Dalton. I want to thank you all this evening for being patient. It's been 2.5 hours, and I'm sure every one of y'all that's listening to me and saying, hurry up, let's go home. But thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for enduring this evening. It's once a month, and it's still tough to sit here for 2.5 hours, let's just say. I want to congratulate H.F. Haymore. H.F. told me about, he had been serving, I think, when Winsome Sears came to Chatham several months ago. He was at that meeting, and I think we had just acknowledged Mike Neal for, I believe, 50, 55 years, whatever. And so I was talking to H.F., and he said he'd been 60 years. I told H.F. I wasn't even 60 years old yet. But anyway, H.F. has been a wonderful, wonderful citizen of the county. I served with him on Planning Commission for 4 years. Just an outstanding person. Love the guy. Just wonderful family. And I really appreciate what he's done for this county in his service as he worked here and after work as he served as well. There was several that came this evening, and may still be some here, about the East Point battery storage siting that was pulled, and it's gone. And I heard you guys, I sit with you guys. We had a meeting at the Hurt Elementary School, and it was good conversation back and forth, so listen to you. Also want to acknowledge Vaden. What a good job that he's done. He's been the attorney since I was on here. He was the attorney before I was on here when I was on Planning Commission for 4 years. Just want to wish him best of luck in his future endeavors. And really appreciate you as a friend too. It ain't real cool to guys to say I love you, but I do love you, man, okay? How about that? And I really appreciate the service you have for this county. And also, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you, Vaden.
Thank you, Mr. Dudley. Mr. Whittle. Yeah, everything, sir?
Yeah, man. I'm glad you put me in front of Ken is all I can say, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to congratulate my brother, won his election over in Danville, getting back on the city council for Danville. Also, we went to the Harville Saunders Parkway opening, and that was really nice out there. They did a great job getting a road in down to the mega park. And then I'd like to say thank you to all the staff. Thank you to all the people that came out tonight. Appreciate Mr. Hunt for all you've done for me since I've been here. And I want to tell the staff thank you, and everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr.
I'm
Whittle.
going to yield the rest of my time to Ken.
All right, Mr. Bowman, you got about a minute. Eddie's done you short.
Is that all? That's right. Eddie took some of it.
Eddie
That's
took
correct.
some of
That's
yours.
right.
He's
That's
a
right.
good man.
All right. Thank you. Let me go down my list. So attended the Farm Bureau annual dinner on October 17th at the ODAC, and I was also approached after that by some of the farmers there to serve with them on their future meetings as the Board of Supervisor rep. And so I haven't passed this on to my board members yet, but they approached me about that, and I told them I'd be glad to do it if that was the pleasure of the board, because we used to do that years ago, and it seems like there's no board supervisor rep there now. And so I told them I'd be glad to participate in their meetings. Attended the 10th Annual Pennsylvania County Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony on October the 20th. And I want to say congratulations to the class of 2024, Danielle Colbert, Dennis Dillon, Dr. Paul Grecos, Vic Hardy, Kent Harris, Terry Harris, Raleigh James, Elsie Moore, Calvin Younger, Frank Robertson, and former member of the Board of Supervisors, Fred Ingram, and a special thanks to George Henderson, Brenda Bowman, and the Board of the Hall of Fame for recognizing these deserving volunteers in their community. So each year when they do this, there are some great people that they recognize, so congratulations to all those folks. Attended the West Piedmont Planning District meeting on October 24th, attended the candidate forum for the Danville City Council and School Board on October 28th, and I'd like to echo that all those folks that ran for re-election got re-elected in Danville, so congratulations, and I look forward to working with them in the future again. Attended 2 of the 3 information forums regarding the proposed data center for the Java area. I want to thank everybody that came out and that participated. Those were large meetings. Everybody was very civil in those meetings. They were asking questions. They probably didn't get the answers to all those questions they wanted. But I want to thank Katie Whitehead for coming tonight, because what you presented, Katie, was very detailed, and I appreciate that, because I'm going to look at our current ordinance and see if that, in fact, can be modified to take in consideration some of those comments. So thank you for coming out for that and giving that to us. Attended the Community Day Job Fair Meet and Greet for NASCAR truck driver Spencer Boyd at the Amthor International location in Gretna. Great turnout there. Congratulations to Brian Amthor and his dad Butch for hosting that event. That was good, and the surprise person to show up there, some of you in NASCAR might remember him, Jeff Hammond. He was sitting at the table there and spent about 30 minutes talking to him, so that was a good turnout, and they also did the trunk or treat there. Attended the VACO conference in Bath County, and 2 of the breakout sessions I attended were the workforce development and the housing workshops, and they brought in information throughout the state, the Commonwealth, and shared it with everybody that participated there. It was super, because we're not the only ones going through the growing pains of housing and the shortage of workforce. So we need to start paying attention to what they're doing in the state and start to replicate some of the things that they're starting to do as far as recruiting people and identifying areas for housing. Attended the RIFA announcement on the Berry Hill mega site. Looking forward to the future of microporous in our community. Was honored to be invited as the guest speaker for the Dan River Ruritans Club recognition of veterans held at the Ringgold Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you also to Barry and Francis Sides. Francis is the president of the Ruritans there, so thank you for that invitation. Attended the FEMA Disaster Survivor Assistance Site at Dry Fork Volunteer Fire Department on November the 18th, and from the last word I got, we had 21 applicants for assistance that were filed. They met yesterday. That was the last time they'll be here, and I think everybody that filed got some assistance through the FEMA agency, so I'm glad to hear that. I want to wish everyone an enjoyable Thanksgiving holiday. I want to thank Vaden for his support, expertise, guidance, leadership throughout the years. I knew Vaden when he first came to work here, and he has grown by being here in Pittsylvania County, and I believe we have also done well by having his guidance and leadership and his opinions that he renders to the board on a regular basis. So good luck there, Vaden. And the last thing I want to say is, and Eddie, you brought this up, and it's a big deal to me. Some of you know my background. I'm a military guy. I spent 30 plus years in uniform. I'm also a Vietnam vet, and I spent a year in Vietnam, 1971, the entire year. So I missed a whole lot of those TV shows, and when they come on now, I try to look at them. I missed a lot of that music. It came out in 71, so I try to listen to it. But one of the things that has really gotten to the point to where we need to focus on is suicide prevention. And so for all of my veteran friends out there that are watching this or listening to this, if you ever need somebody to talk to, please give me a call. I'm a member of Post 47 American Legion here in Chatham. I'm also a member of the VFW in Danville, life member, and I'm available 24/7. If you need me, you just call me. And if I can't get to you, I will make sure somebody does. So
please keep that in mind, because as we move into the holidays, it becomes a very lonely time for not only other folks, but for the vets in particular. So that being said, Mr. Chairman, thank you and have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Mr. Ingram?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I likewise, with Mr. Bowman, attended the Pennsylvania County Sports Hall of Fame, and there's two gentlemen from my district that were honored, Dennis Dillion and Terry Harris. I want to extend my congratulations to those two gentlemen. I think it's really nice what we did tonight for HF and MAC. They are truly saints of this community, and they have done so much. If you've ever been to the Veterans Memorial in Dan Daniel Park, it's a beautiful memorial for not only the living but the dead, anybody that served. And my dad and I, we both honored to have a brick there, but it was a brainchild of a gentleman named Davis Newman, who recently passed away at the age of 93. Davis was a dear friend of my family, and he lived a good life, Korean veteran, but he also has a grandson that's also in the Sports Hall of Fame. His name is Joe Manaply, and he's a left-handed pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So remember Davis and his family. October 28th was National First Responders Day, and I've said it a million times. What we do without our volunteers, we have well over 600 that serve us sacrificially. Also, congratulations to all my city colleagues. I did work a poll for Madison Whittle. I think I knocked him over the edge. But congratulations to all those guys on their reelection. Likewise for our new Congressman, John McGuire. Such a pleasant change, as well as new President Trump coming back in and J.D. Vance. And I couldn't leave out Will Pace. He's coming back to Chatham Town Council. November the 7th was a special day. I've been married to the same woman for 39 years, so y'all get ready. I'm going to do something on 40. But in closing, I was so pleased and honored to have a small part in the dedication of the new Harville-Saunders Parkway. Corey Harville sat on this board. Sherman Saunders is current city councilman. And if you go back in time to 2008, for those two guys, a city rep and a county rep, to get together and to work together on a dream that they knew would benefit both the city and the county. And I'll be honest with you, before I came on the board, I was as skeptical as anybody about that money pit and that swampland and all the ghost stories. But after John Reeves came to town 2 years ago, I had the honor of meeting with John and his staff, and they shared with us what they would like to do in the future. And we had a ribbon cutting, and we were honored to have our governor there, Glenn Youngkin. And, this is a $1.351 billion investment. That's the kind of number I can't fathom. But, up to date, we've spent over $210 million. But when you look at an investment of $1.351 billion, I think we get our money's worth. But it will spawn other supply lines and other corporations to come. And it's something that we've worked for. But I go right back to the beginning. Those men, Corey Harville and Sherman Saunders, that had a dream, that had a vision, and they were strong enough to stand up against political opposition. And I look at what I've been through over the past years for supporting projects, and it's like I ain't got nothing to fuss about. But do let me close by saying I hope y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank y'all for coming out. I know it's been a long night. You probably will never come back, but you're always welcome to. But one of the greatest feelings in the world is to be thankful, and you don't really know why. So I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Wow, y'all done stole all my thunder. I don't have nothing else left to say.
Then let's go home.
Thank y'all. Thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank all the staff, all the hard work y'all do. This was in Mr. Dudley's district, but I did have a chance to attend the Youth Fish Day down at Wayside. Great thing for the kids. If you was having a bad day, that was a place to be because they'd put a smile on your face. They was having a good time. Again, I was at the micro-porous announcement. Great opportunity to be there. Also, Mr. H.F. Haymore and Mr. Mac Doss was recognized tonight. Two great gentlemen here in the county. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'd like to keep Mr. Dudley and his family in your thoughts and prayers. He's having some rough time with his family. Think about him. Thank you, Mr. Hunt, for what you have done for the county. Wish you nothing but the best in whatever you do. And with that, again, thank everybody for coming out and be safe on the way home. Mr. Shorter, do you have any update to report?
I don't have anything, just happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Mr. Hunt, do you have anything, sir?
Sure, I just have a brief statement. As I embark on a new chapter of my life, I just want to say what an honor and privilege it has been to serve the Board of Supervisors, county staff, constitutional officers, and most importantly, the great citizens of Pittsylvania County for the last 14 years. I wish everyone all the best in their future endeavors. I and my family thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Take care and God bless.
Thank you, sir. Nothing else. Meeting's adjourned. Thank y'all.